Oh,
Oh no, is it the Nod Hill Splash?
not crazy, not heel people.
Filling it to the tippy top once again.
There's not enough room in this can.
Well, there's not enough room for the awesomeness of a Nod Hill beer. Why aren't we sponsored yet?
Defied physics somehow with these.
It's that they're just that awesome. They're just that awesome. I too have a Nod Hill beer, but I'm dying to know which Nod Hill beer you are pouring right now at this moment.
I believe a brand new
Oh, Zor or Zoar?
Zor, I believe.
Zor.
In brown ale.
Nice.
So you could see it's pretty brown.
Oh my God, it is very dark brown. Well, you'll have to let me know about that, Chris.
What do you got going?
Well, okay. Well. So I have a beautiful koozie. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I have Magic Mailbox, which is a hibiscus. Oh, the koozie is snug. It's a hibiscus wit beer, Belgian style ale brewed with coriander, orange peel, and hibiscus. And the hibiscus gives it a pink color. And I would have poured it out to show you this gorgeous pink color. You'll just have to go to Nod Hill yourself, which is why we should be sponsored. But I really need to show you, it's like I said, this very snug koozie here. But it is inside a Nod Hill koozie that shows Geo Bunny that we won at trivia night on Wednesday. We came in third place, a FUMFA all-star team of Chris Belden, Megan Muldowney, and myself. And the third place prize was a tchotchke bag, a Nod Hill tchotchke bag. So we got some stickers, we got some coasters, and this koozie, which we divided among ourselves the prizes, and I am really excited that I got. It's nice, isn't it?
Nice koozie.
Yeah, it's ice cold beer right here.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes. Well, everyone, I just want to tell you that that I have some blue eyeliner on tonight. Check it out.
Blue. That is blue.
Very, very blue. And even though it's kind of a wild and different color for me for my eyes, it's also kind of like a little bit subtle. I'm into it. I like to experiment with the different colors. As you know, you've seen my many eyeshadow color adventures.
That's kind of a Facebook blue, at least on.
It is kind of a Facebook blue. Oh, maybe almost like a Twitter blue too.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Chris, have you tried any new eyeliners lately?
I'm wearing some right now, but it's very subtle.
That is too funny. Oh, Chris. Who told me something? Somebody said something hilarious to me about how you should model like beard care products. Like I'm always like talking about makeup and hair. And
it's true. Maybe we get sponsored. Well, I am wearing here's a product for you. Hold on.
Oh man. Whoa. Chairman of the beard. Chris, that's hilarious. Oh, get rid of that red shirt. That shirt is the best thing. It's the best shirt I've seen. Oh, we're kind of coordinated with our black and white now.
A little chilly earlier, so I put the.
Chris, that is the only shirt you should be wearing all the time. It's perfect for you. You're the chairman of the beard.
Some beard company. I can't remember what it says.
Oh, it says Beard Club. The Beard Club. Yeah, very nice.
I'm not really a member of the club, but I do have the T-shirt.
Chris, your beard automatically makes you a member of the club.
I should.
For sure. All right, guys and ladies out there, people, viewers, friends, it is 8 o'clock. and it's time to officially welcome you to FUMFA 97, everyone. If you're out there, say hi in the chat. We love you. We see you, we see you coming in, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We know you're out there. We just can't see you from inside a StreamYard. And we're so excited to have you here tonight for our Woodhall Press night. We have had Woodhall Press authors on here before, but tonight it's all Woodhall Press authors. And we're so excited to have with us Patricia Crisafulli, Mindy Henderson, Gregory Norris, and Allison K. Williams. You're going to hear from 4 awesome authors tonight. And they're going to share a reading with you, and then we'll do like a tiny Q&A with each of them. So if you have any burning questions, make sure to get them in there real quick during or right after their reading, and we'll try our best to get to those questions. Sometimes I just gush and have so many of my own questions, so we'll try our best to get your questions in. But that's what's going on tonight. It's going to be an awesome night for fabulous authors. But Chris, what else do we have coming up very soon?
Well, next week, which is the 19th, and it's also Father's Day. And I'm not sure we knew that when we planned this out, but
I don't think we remembered at the time. But you know what? I want us to remember about that in the future.
It doesn't have to be a theme show. No, because we have great guests. We have our
great guests all the time.
Our very own Susan M. Davis, who will be, I'm sure, reading from her fairly new book, Lipstick Lesbian.
Yeah.
Other things. Sometimes she gets a little spicy. So
we love spice.
If you're up for that. And also Rebecca Hazelton is a really interesting poet. I'm very anxious to meet her and hear her stuff. The following week on the 26th, we have North Carolina Poet Night.
Yeah.
With a cavalcade. Carolina poets. Our friends Chris Abate and Mauro Dowdle, as well as Bartholomew Barker, Amber Watson, and Anna Weaver. And that's on the 26th. And then we're off on the 3rd because of this 4th of July thing.
Whatever.
When people are busy, and that would lead us to our 100th live stream reading on July 10, where we will feature 2 dynamic writers, one of whom is named Katie, and the other is named
Chairman of the Beard.
We'll be celebrating ourselves and our reading series 100 shows.
Woo!
You can believe that. So that's coming up.
Yes. All of that great stuff is coming up. And we are super excited to share about something that we are planning for the Friday after that, which is an in-person open mic night. We've been talking about this for a long time. We were dreaming of the opportunity of doing this during our first year when we were all very much in quarantine. And now we are planning on making it happen Friday night, July 15th at 7:30 at Eco Evolution in South Norwalk, right on the strip of all those awesome restaurants. So listen, people, what you got to do is come out, have a happy hour bev and maybe a dinner, sign up to read, and hear our guaranteed featured readers and performers, Chris Belden, Katie Schneider, and a performance by singer-songwriter Matt Kolb. And we are hoping to have 1 or 2 more guaranteed readers. We just need to confirm. And we will have walk-in signups and advanced signups. So please look for our social media about this. And please also look for an event invitation. Now, you also got to go out and follow Eco Evolution in Norwalk. And you got to come out. If you are anywhere in the area, drive down, have an awesome Friday night with us. It's going to be so much fun.
Right.
Anyways, we need to get into our reading for tonight.
Just to say, people should just come out just so they can see us in person, and we can,
yes,
because we're in these little boxes, and I need to get out of this goddamn box.
Well, and you know what? You need to see what we look like.
I'm very tall.
Below here, So please come out. You don't have to sign up. You could just join the audience, support the event, shop around, and grab a drink at Eco Evolution. Going to be so much fun. So much fun. Anyhow, we need to get into our reading for tonight. So tonight, FUMFA 97, Woodhall Press Authors Night. We need to welcome our first reader, our first author, Patricia. Welcome, Patricia.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited. Thanks so much.
Joining us from California, I believe.
Close. I'm in Oregon right now.
Oh, nice, West Coast.
Somehow I got confused. You're just above California.
One of those places
out there.
Cooler than California. I'm sorry, Susan M. Davis. So Oregon is not cooler than California, but it's just as cool.
It's pretty cool.
I think it's pretty cool. I think it's cool. I think it's very cool. All right, Patricia, I'm going to read your bio on my second monitor over here, so don't mind me looking to the side. Patricia Crisafulli is an award-winning New York Times best-selling author. Her debut novel, The Secrets of Oneida Harbor, the first in the Oneida Harbor mystery series, will be published this fall by Woodhall Press. She received a Master of Fine Arts, MFA degree with a fiction concentration from Northwestern University, where she received the Distinguished Thesis Award in Creative Writing. In summer 2019, Patricia received the Grand Prize for Fiction for Tallgrass Writers Guild Outrider Press and was published in its anthology Loon Magic and Other Night Sounds. She was also nominated for a Pushcart Prize. Patricia is the author of a collection of short stories and essays titled Inspired Everyday Essays and Stories to Brighten Your Day, Give You Hope, and Strengthen Your Faith, published by Hallmark. The recipient of 5 Write Well Awards from the Silver Pen Association for her short stories, Patricia has been published in a series of anthologies featuring award winners. She is also the founder of Faith, Hope, and Fiction.com. What a cool name. A popular e-literary magazine that features original fiction, essays, and poetry. Take it away, Patricia.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. And I have this up on my phone. Can you see? This is my beautiful, cool book cover. Thank you, Woodhall Press, for making this amazing book cover for my book, The Secrets of Oneida Harbor, which is a mystery. And I'm going to read you an excerpt from the first chapter. And so we'll take it away. All right. Chapter 1. Boxes of every size and shape crowded the steps, piled like a horde of invaders against the library's double doors with their heavy iron hinges. Threading through a maze of cartons and overstuffed plastic bags, Gabriella confronted a tall stack. She stood 5'2", and this column towered over her head. Stretching her arms over her head, she reached for the top box, rain-soaked from last night's storm, but lightweight, and moved it aside. The second carton threatened to buckle, and Gabriella gripped it tightly. The ones on the bottom had stayed mostly dry, and she shoved them aside. Behind the stack, a small box tipped over. With a light kick from the toe of her shoe, Gabriella nudged it out of the way, leaving a scuff mark. "You trying to score a field goal?" Mike Drisky, the library custodian, stood on the sidewalk. He wore his usual uniform of jeans and a t-shirt with a zip-up jacket hanging loose from his shoulders. "We've got quite a haul." Gabriella slid her key into the lock, but it wouldn't turn, and now she couldn't take it out either. Mike motioned her aside. Taking the latch in one hand and the key in the other, he wriggled both until the front door swung open. "So it is me," Gabriella sighed. "Seems so." Mike hoisted 2 boxes. She picked up a carton and strained a little. "Better get started." A month ago, when the Friends of the Library had put out a call for donations for its first annual rummage sale, Gabriella had expected a modest volume from the community, but not this. Maybe this stretch of unseasonably warm April weather had spurred everyone to clean out their garages and basements and dump their cast-offs and junk on the library. The sale started in 2 days, she consoled herself. Not much more could be donated. She considered the withering possibility that the good people of Oneida Harbor, New York, might be supporting the rummage sale in lieu of voting yes on the referendum in June to save their library. Won't raise taxes, but here's the junk out of my basement. No, she argued with herself, every box and bag dropped off for the sale had to mean a yes vote to increase the library's funding, even if it did mean bumping up property taxes. Surely people understood that the rummage sale alone wouldn't raise a fraction of the money needed to close the budget deficit and pay for a long list of overdue upgrades to save the Oneida Harbor Public Library. The sale's the sale's main purpose had always been to raise awareness of the library's financial plight. Tipping her head back, Gabriella looked straight up the face of the castle, built 160 years ago to resemble a Norman fortress, right down to its notched battlements and arcaded windows. The oldest library in the United States still in its original building, Gabriella thought with pride. But when cracked mortar fell like hailstones and the windows rattled every time a gust blew off Lake Ontario, she couldn't deny that a smaller, more modern structure would be so much easier to maintain. Cheaper, too. The carton in her hand slipped. Gabriella jerked her attention down to the box in time to see the wet cardboard run a streak of dirt down the leg of her navy slacks. Her frown plowed deep furrows between her eyebrows. What would her former colleagues from the New York Public Library think if they could see her now? Gabriella groused to herself. She thought back to her days as the assistant director of archives and manuscripts, when she had authenticated and cataloged valuable, sometimes priceless documents and artifacts. She'd handled Ralph Waldo Emerson's letters, and once a scrap of Emily Dickinson's poetry written in pencil on an envelope flap. Now here she was, the director of circulation and the head of programming at the Oneida Harbor Public Library, which meant she picked up the slack every time staffing had to be cut. If she had a nameplate on her desk, it would read, Gabriella Dominici, I do everything that needs to get done, especially what no one else wants to do. A low, rumbling sigh relaxed into a soft hiss. Resentment, she'd learned long ago, might be familiar, but it could never be her friend. Footsteps on the stairs turned her attention to the doorway. Mary Jo Hinson, the library's executive director, stood in the entrance to the workroom with a carton in her arms. Statuesque with short, dark salt and pepper hair and turquoise-colored eyeglass frames, she projected a commanding presence as the only African-American woman connected to the Oneida Harbor City Administration. Anything interesting? Gabriella reached behind her on the knick-knack table for a long-legged Betty Boop statue. Call the Louvre. I think the Venus de Milo is missing. Mary Jo laughed. Well, maybe Winged Victory is somewhere in there too, and then we'd have a match set. Hello. Ellen Turkin walked into the workroom with a tray of coffee and to-go cups and a bakery bag. A banker at Oneida Harbor Savings, Ellen wore a slim beige skirt, a white blouse, and a red blazer with a silk scarf under the lapels. Thought I'd stop by to see how it's going and bring some goodies. Gabriella accepted a coffee with milk and no sugar, and took an appreciative sip. Ellen looked around. It's sort of like Christmas, all these boxes to open. You're welcome to help, just don't get yourself filthy. Gabriella slid open a small carton that bore a scuff mark. Inside sat a yellowed pillow embroidered with daisies and the saying, East-West, home is best. Holding the pillow by a corner, she recalled a North Country Library Association bulletin urging circulation departments to be on the lookout for bedbug infestations. Below the pillowcase, coiled a faded beige towel, or maybe, Gabriella thought with a wince, a badly discolored white one. You think it's gonna bite you? Mike yanked out the towel, and a blue velvet pouch came with it. Gabriella reached for the cloth bag before it hit the floor, feeling the hard edges of something inside. Setting it on the nearest table, she tried to undo the double knots in the gold-colored cord with tassels at the end, but couldn't loosen them with her short, unpolished nails. I'd hate to cut this. Leave it to me. Mike pushed the point of a sharpened pencil into one of the knots. As she watched him, Gabriella noticed ripples of scarred flesh on Mike's right hand, from wrist to knuckles, as if his skin had melted, then twisted. She had heard that he'd been burned as a child, but didn't know any more than that. Got it! Mike untied the cord. Gabriella reached inside the velvet bag and extracted a small cross, about 6 inches high and 4 inches wide, with a stand of 4 feet, molded to resemble the fur and claws of a lion's paws. Small, colorful tiles with pictures on them covered the arms of the cross. An intricate carving of a bearded man surrounded by people decorated the center. Mary Jo leaned in. Unusual, isn't it? Ellen pursed her lips. Is there a name on the box? A note from a donor? Maybe it's a museum gift shop piece, Gabriella thought. Out of the corner of her eye, she noticed that the others were looking at the cross, but she ignored them and kept on with her work. We're going to flash forward a little bit in the chapter. At the end of the day, bone-tired, Gabriella climbed into bed just before 11 that night and sank into the pillows behind her back. She opened a biography of Virginia Woolf that had been on her reading list since it had come out 2 years earlier, and continued at the place marked by a worn Caravaggio exhibit bookmark from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. When her cell phone rang downstairs, Gabriella ignored it. She'd just gotten comfortable. Her mother always called the landline, and anyone else could wait until morning. Then the house phone rang. The caller ID read, Mary Jo. Gabriella leaned over to the nightstand to reach the phone. Hi, what's up? Everything okay? I have terrible news. Mary Jo's voice broke. They found Ellen Turkin in the harbor. Gabriella slumped as if all the breath had come out of her body. What? Mary Jo gulped over the phone. Someone out walking their dog found her. Oh, no, it's not possible. Gabriella swung her legs over the side of the bed and tried to stand, but sank back down on the mattress. Mary Jo spoke slowly. I'm hearing this from a board member who knows Chief Hobart. The police think she might have, she paused, intentionally jumped in. Tears bit the corner of Gabriella's eyes and her mouth gaped open. I can't believe that. Not Ellen. She wouldn't do that. Gabriella's voice rose. Can you imagine her doing that, Ellen? I know this is hard to process, Mary Jo replied. Ellen was one of the nicest people I ever met, always gracious, thinking of others. Gabriella interrupted. Does that sound like someone who would drown herself? She thought of Ben, her son, sleeping in the room across the landing, and forced her voice lower. Seriously? We'll find out more tomorrow, but I wanted to tell you. Mary Jo's voice trailed off. I had to tell someone. Try to get some rest. All tiredness evaded her now, replaced by a jolt of energy that sent Gabriella into motion. She had to do something. Pulling on her bathrobe, she descended the stairs and headed to the kitchen, where she made a cup of tea, scrubbed splotches from her counter, then started cleaning out the vegetable bin in the refrigerator. As she worked, Gabriella replayed her conversation with Ellen that morning and the invitation to have lunch. Maybe it hadn't just been social. Perhaps Ellen had been troubled and wanted to talk. Manic scrubbing paused, and she had been too busy to make time for her. Gabriella began scraping a dried spinach leaf from a glass shelf inside the refrigerator, trying to evade another reason she had avoided Ellen's invitation until she had to confront the thought. She hadn't made any friends in Oneida Harbor other than Mary Jo, because she did not want to put down any roots here. At age 40, she could not accept any other scenario than this being a temporary return to her own hometown. She had to find a way to get her career back on track, and then they'd move, taking her mother with them, though that would take some convincing. Pushing her hair back from her face, Gabriella stared down at the spinach leaf disintegrating into green specks. That's why she had put off Ellen's invitation. She didn't want to become invested in anyone in this town, so that when she left, it would be a clean break. The specks swam in her vision, and she swiped at her tears with the back of her hand. Thank you.
Whoa, Patricia! Intense! Oh my gosh! Like we're feeling all like cozy with our characters at first, and then boom, and then we gotta. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
Listen, she did not jump in that water.
No.
No way.
Gabriella doesn't think so. You don't think so. I don't think so.
I think something fishy.
Something is
in the harbor
going on.
Patricia, what an awesome reading, and what a teaser to make us get your fabulous book.
The idea.
It's perfect.
And I love that it's it's set in in and around a library, right?
Our favorite places,
right? But it's a lot going on in these libraries that we don't know about.
That's absolutely right. People think a library is just a calm, sweet little place for books. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
What a library. It is the center of a community.
All right,
the entire public can come in there, and everyone can come in, which means it's the crossroads of the entire community. In fact, this library, the Oneida Harbor Library, is based on my hometown library in Oswego, New York. A shout out to the hometown, which really does look like a Norman castle. And it is one of the first and oldest libraries in America to be open to everyone. So that's a wonderful legacy and heritage. Yes. And then building off that with the secrets of Oneida Harbor was the idea. Well, they had this rummage sale, this crazy little, information campaign, the financial plight of their libraries at stake, and people. Well, then somebody just might reach in to their belongings and donate this quirky little artifact. And what's that all about? Mystery number one. Yes. And then Ellen seems to get kind of interested in this, and then she's dead in the harbor. And that's only 10 pages. I'm telling you, libraries are happening places, and so are small towns.
Heck yes. Everybody go out there and get this book. And did I see here in your bio, this is going to be a series.
It is a series. We've got 3 planned, and I've got 4 ready, and maybe 5.
Oh my God,
anyway, 1, 2, and 3. So I actually finished 2, and that's into production. Wow. Thank you, Woodhall. Wonderful press. Wow. And I just started writing 3.
Chris Madden is watching, so he knows what's going on.
He does. And I'm so excited. Patricia. What an exciting, and we're hooked. That was absolutely, we're hooked now. And it's exciting that the excitement and the intrigue, the mystery, the suspense doesn't have to end after one book. But we're excited. Yeah. Patricia, I am dying to know, you are so active and prolific. I have a quick question.
It's also known as being old. I've been at this for a long time.
Oh, stop. No, well, and doing an awesome job of it. How did you first get into writing? And when did you do your MFA program? Did you do it when you were like fresh out of undergrad, or did you do it later in life?
Later in life. So here's the thing. I've been writing, like most of us, right? We've been writing since we could hold a pencil, because stories were cool and we had these imaginations. And when you said, I have this weird thing in my head and I can actually write it down, I have a place to put it. Flash forward many years and many attempts, and I've been a journalist and I had some nonfiction books published. Fiction was always my heart. And so at 51, I'll say it, I went back for an MFA at Northwestern.
That's awesome.
Yes. So it's never too late to pursue any dream, folks.
So true.
So then my thesis was something that had a little different title. That was this book.
Nice.
And a very wise person read, because when you do an MFA and it's your thesis, it's usually a partial, and said, this is genre work. And I was like, what? Mm-hmm. Yes, what you've written is a mystery. Yeah. So yes, you can take an MFA and go into genre. It's the best thing that ever happened.
Yes.
Because I like to write about, quirky hometown, because I
love it.
Quirky hometown. And my favorite is the intersection of the ordinary and the extraordinary, which is what we all want in our lives. We all look for those serendipities and, those wonderful things that happen, those extraordinary moments. And you wrap a mystery around that, folks, and you've got, an interesting life.
Something totally captivating and addicting and exciting and totally memorable.
Kind of relatable, I hope. Right?
Yes.
I mean, none of us want to find bodies floating in the harbor, but other than that, it is relatable, because we do have those moments of the extraordinary in ordinary life.
But when you were first writing this, you didn't know that you were writing a mystery. You thought.
No, I thought I was writing, women's contemporary fiction, because that's what they taught you in MS. But then as soon as somebody goes, do you know what you've written? And I was like, well, I was not that clueless, but pretty close. And they said, you've got a mystery here.
Right.
It was your thesis is a partial, and it wasn't too much moving around and killing off a couple of townspeople. And I think it's quite fun for a Sunday afternoon.
I love it, Patricia.
You got a cozy mystery. And then that's my shtick. I've got a modern day thing, and then I've got an artifact. All three books will have, or 4 or 5 or 10 or 89 will have that thing where I love history and I love research. And Gabriella is an authenticator, my protagonist. So it's easy to have a modern day mystery and an historic artifact, and somehow they link up.
Oh, Patricia, that is just so cool. And we are so excited for you. We're excited for this book. And the Secrets of Oneida Harbor, September 6th. Oh my God, we have to wait the rest of the summer to get it in our hands.
Well, you could pre-order.
Pre-order, everybody. Get out there, pre-order.
Thank you. This has been a blast.
Thank you so much, Patricia. This was so much fun. So great to hear from your book. Everybody get out there and pre-order. We need to know what happens. And, we should have you back real soon to give us a little preview of that second manuscript coming out.
Love it. Thank you so much. I'm excited to hear the other authors who are following very, very soon.
Yes. Thank you so much once again, Patricia. Applause.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Patricia. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. What starting off with a bang, Chris.
I know, it's so much fun to a good mystery is
delicious.
And it's hard. It's really hard to write a good mystery, I think.
Well, yeah. And, sometimes people are like, oh, is it genre? It's like, well, so what? So what genre? It's delightful. It's wonderful. Any kind of thing that you can write, if you're writing it well, it's just absolutely, delicious, exciting, interesting, intriguing, relatable, all these good things. Love a good mystery.
Big philosophical issues, life and death and all this kind of thing, and it's nothing to sneeze at.
Nothing to sneeze at. So much fun. And Laura Rossi just wrote in the in our chat here, page turner. Yeah, and who doesn't want to write and read a page turn? I mean, awesome stuff, like exciting stuff. So cool. Awesome, Patricia. Well, Chris, that was super awesome. But we have 3 other incredible authors to hear from tonight. And we need to welcome Mindy Henderson. Oops, sorry, that's Greg. Mindy.
Hi.
Welcome, Mindy. I'm so sorry. How are you this evening?
I am good. That is a tough act to follow. I can't believe I have to follow Patricia. That was so good.
But she was awesome.
Yes.
It'd be great.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe I have to wait a couple of months to see what happens next. I'm so excited.
I know. Oh gosh, I'm excited. I'm excited about that one. That's gonna be such an exciting read, and I gotta know what happens. Gotta know. But anyways, Mindy, I'm wondering, Chris, will you do the honors
of course, I would love to.
Mindy's bio?
I'm going to read Mindy's bio here. Mindy is I love bullet points. It helps me here. So Mindy Henderson is a motivational speaker, writer, editor-in-chief of Muscular Dystrophy Association's Adaptive Lifestyle Quest magazine.
Awesome.
Host of the MDA's Quest podcast. She's the host of the Truth About Things That Suck podcast.
So good.
So that's just the best. Guest Morning Motivations on CBS Austin's We Are Austin Lifestyle Morning Show. Was named an Austin Woman to Watch in the May 2021 issue of Austin Woman magazine's annual Women to Watch issue. Now, after a 20-year career in high tech, Mindy shifted her focus toward helping others realize their potential. Driven to build a world that welcomes and includes everyone, Mindy is an advocate for the community of disabled individuals and works to amplify conversations around employment, air travel, media representation, and fashion for people with disabilities.
Love
Her
it.
book, also titled The Truth About Things That Suck.
Love it.
Hope and encouragement to readers who are looking for a new perspective to help them get through the harder times we all experience in life. As Mindy says, adversity is not an excuse. It is a reason. It is a reason to thrive and to push ourselves to excel. In this book, Mindy will help you create the mindset where you can see possibilities instead of limitations. Ultimately, Mindy's mission is to help others see how to live more productively and positively. Her mission is to inspire people to understand that when they take responsibility, stop making excuses, and own their adversity, well, they become stronger people and true potential is revealed. Amen.
Amen to that, Mindy. We love it. Take it away, Mindy.
All right. So this is going to be a bit of a different kind of book than we just enjoyed. This is, of course, nonfiction, and it is something that I really wanted to write after the last couple of years that this world has experienced together. I really wanted to put something out there that would encourage people and empower people and just sort of help people to see a different way of looking at their challenges. And really, it's all about mindset. We all go through hard things in life, and it's about our mindset as we go through those things. So each chapter in the book is sort of a theme. I wanted anyone who picked this book up to be able to find themselves in it. And so there are chapters on job loss and disease, illness and disability. There are chapters on shame and loneliness and all sorts of things. But tonight, I am going to read from chapter 8, which is about helplessness. So here we go. Every damn day, y'all, I wake up every single day to a body that doesn't work. I can't stand. I can't walk. I can't get from the bed to my wheelchair. I can't stand in the shower. I can't get my own food out of the refrigerator. I can't pour myself a glass of water. The list of cannots is long, my friends. My arms can't work against gravity to reach up to fix my own hair. I can't get to the bathroom when I really, really need to go, guys. I'm not trying to be gross, but I want to be very clear about just how many things I have in my life that put me at the mercy of someone else. And frankly, the things you may do every day without considering that there are people out there who can't do those very simple but very critical things by themselves. This is not a pity party. This is not a play for sympathy. This is not an indictment against others who have abilities I don't have. This is merely my truth about how very helpless I am in every single day of my life. When it comes to helplessness, I know what I'm talking about. I rely on the personal care assistants I am fortunate enough to employ and my family to cover all of my cannots. It sucks. It's dehumanizing. It's demoralizing. It's embarrassing to have to ask your child for a glass of water. That's how helpless I am sometimes. And I hate it. That's the truth. And to say anything else would be a big, fat lie. I also accept that these are my circumstances. I'll come back to that in a minute. Because to further illustrate my breadth and depth of experience in this area, I want to tell you about a different kind of helplessness I experienced this past year. It's one thing to be helpless in your own circumstances, but it's quite a different experience to be helpless as an onlooker to someone you love's circumstances. And I, like I'm sure so many of you, have seen it from both sides. In 2020, my dad lost his leg and his hip after something like 15 years of progressively worsening health from a faulty hip replacement. Last year, he spent more time in the hospital than not. During the outbreak of COVID, no less, I couldn't see him or be there to hold his hand as he became disabled and wheelchair bound. There is so much trauma weaved into this 15-year story for both of my parents, but out of respect for them and their privacy, I will leave it at this. It's really not my story to tell. But my point in bringing it up is that I also know the feeling of not being able to fix something or make something better when someone you love is suffering. I don't know if there have been words invented to describe how helpless I felt and still sometimes feel now as they try to find their new normal. When I spoke to either of my parents on the phone last year, it's ironic that he is one half of the team that raised me. He and my mom together raised me to be strong and to find humor, to count my blessings, and to make the best of a crappy situation. He helped me believe that I was amazing, even if I had to do me from a wheelchair. I wanted and want so badly to be able to help him see the same thing about himself. And I see now what a difficult job that was for my parents. It's so hard to know what to say to ease the burden, to take the pain and sorrow away, to give hope back. It's so hard to know what to do, especially in a crazy time when you can't even be in someone's presence or bring them groceries because #pandemic. Even the box of popsicles I thought would be a treat for him weren't allowed. One day I took them to the rehab hospital where he had been for a while after the amputation to just drop them off, knowing I wouldn't be allowed in. I and the contraband were turned away. Shaking my metaphorical fist at you, coronavirus. Although I know now they would say this isn't true. A phone call or email or e-card felt insignificant and almost futile in the face of the massiveness of the traumatic experience he and my mom have gone through. I would imagine many of you know what I'm talking about. 2020 gave thousands, if not millions of us reasons to feel helpless. As a person who probably would have ended up on a ventilator and may never have come off of it, just the threat of COVID made me feel like a sitting duck every single day. I had nightmares about not being able to breathe. You can make your bubble as tight as you are able, but things and people, in my case, my personal care assistants, still had to come in and out, and I knew I was not 100% protected. It was out of my control. Besides that, people lost jobs, they lost lives, sickness, financial stress, and beyond the year of COVID, there are natural disasters that have devastated entire cities and beyond. Business decisions that are out of your hands but will have direct impacts on you and your families. Having a sick child. Have I hit on your circumstance yet? I know this is a very small list of potential situations, and you may be facing something else that makes you feel equally helpless. Here's what I know about my circumstances. Let's talk about the one that puts me in a wheelchair and has taken so much control away from me in my own physical body. I can't change it. Knowing this is the key to getting my control back. I'm not saying that in terms of getting my abilities back, but I can take the control back. I can fight and flail and cry and be angry and play the what if game in my head. I can be miserable and I can focus on the humiliation of needing another person to do the things for me that should be our God-given right to do for ourselves as humans. I can be a victim. I can make everyone around me unhappy. I can complain incessantly. I can remind everyone I know on a daily basis how hard my life is and how it sucks to be me. I can become a horrible human being who feels sorry for myself all the time, that I feel so sorry for myself all the time that I drive everyone away. I can do that. It's a choice. It's one way to go. What a miserable experience that would be. Granted, the picture I planted is extreme, but I have known a person or two in my time who chose this excessive victimization over happiness and acceptance. I've also known people who have chosen varying degrees of this victimization. That's the thing, though. There was one event in my life that's at the root of all of this: my diagnosis of the illness that puts me in a wheelchair. That day, I was a victim of that diagnosis and of what it meant. It was out of my control and I was helpless to it. But I have a whole life beyond that day and that event that caused my circumstances. The rest of the days, I simply live with the circumstances and the byproducts that diagnosis created. To live out the sorrow and the misery and the suffering day in and day out, that would be a choice I make. And that choice would continue to make me a victim of my own doing. If that were how I lived in my life, in misery, and someone came up to me one day and said, "Wow, you seem so unhappy. How did this happen?" And I said, "Well, see, 46 years ago, I was diagnosed with a condition that put me in a wheelchair." Bullshit. That's not what was making me miserable. I would be what was making me miserable. Every day for the past 46 years, waking up and choosing to victimize myself again and again for something that happened 46 years ago, something that can't be changed, something that sucks, but that I do have a choice around how to feel about it and how to live with it. And that I might add, I've done pretty well. Thank you very much, guys.
Mindy! What a totally awesome reading. Like such painful, such true words, but such empowering and encouraging words as well for kind of for your situation, but for all of us. We can all be in this moment and in these situations, and we are.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Things happen to us that are out of our control, and that's kind of the operative words are that there are things that happen to us that we have no control over.
Exactly.
But I believe so strongly in taking responsibility for where we are right now and what our circumstances are and what we're going to do about them. And that's where you get your control back.
Yes. And like in the small space of our reading, how you were able to just so perfectly and succinctly and memorably like just communicate all that. Like on that day, I was a victim, but I don't have to continue, you don't have to continue in that mindset. You can take this control back. And like you were saying, that's not what was making me miserable. If in the future I'm such a miserable person, like I can, there are things I can control. There are things like I do that, they get me out of that mindset. I don't have to continue to be a victim.
Exactly.
But also, really, I mean, I think it's really important that you also you don't sugarcoat anything.
No.
No.
You're not like, oh, everything will be okay if you do this kind of a thing.
Mhm.
Okay, this sucks,
Yeah.
right? And this is how we can deal with it and learn from it
Mhm.
and succeed at whatever we want to do. And
Mhm.
it sucks.
It does. It does. And I think I'm too old in life to sugarcoat anything at this point. And, there absolutely are things in life that are hard. We all have problems and we all have challenges, but, I've lived a lot of life, and I've evolved through a lot of different seasons where I've seen things a lot of different ways, and I've seen what serves me and what doesn't.
Yes.
And I hate to see other people wasting their moments,
Yes.
that they are perfectly capable of enjoying despite, whatever the other one other thing that I talk about in the book is this idea that we can have multiple realities in our lives that exist at the same time.
That exists
And
concurrently. It's all true at the same time. It's all happening.
yeah. And even as bad as hard as something might be right now, there are other things in our lives that are good.
So
And
true.
yeah, and so it's all about, not losing sight of those things. And with our mindset, we can make things so much worse, or we can make things so much better. So
Very wise. And how did you get to the point of writing this book? You've had this long journey of dealing with this situation and coming to
mhm.
terms with it and learning from it. And what was there a podcast and then the book came?
That was which one came first?
The podcast came first.
That's what
But honestly, this book is a 12-year project in the making. It's
Oh,
my first book, and I always kind
congratulations.
of knew that I wanted to write a book about, helping other people navigate their adversity well. And it's morphed over the years and evolved a couple of different times. And this book is kind of the final product of all of that.
Mindy, that is so awesome.
Thank
Massive
you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh.
we're celebrating Woodhall Press. So how did you get your book to Woodhall Press and how did that work?
My agent did send my proposal over to Woodhall Press, and we had a meeting with them. And I have to say, some of the nicest people on the planet.
We think
I'd
so.
had a couple of meetings with people by then, but they were so sincere, and they were so excited about this book, and I could almost feel that they were as excited as I was. And I was so touched by how real and how kind and very human they were on the phone and talking about this book and what I really wanted to accomplish with this book. So I do have to thank Woodhall Press for helping me get it out in the wild.
Fantastic.
That is so awesome, Mindy. And Woodhall Press, we know what you're talking about. Just the nicest people.
Mhm.
They're our dear friends, and we're so happy you had such a positive experience working with them and making this book come into the world.
Yeah,
That is
absolutely. It's been a total dream come true. So I'm so excited to be. This is actually the first time I've read any of it in public.
Oh my God, we're
So I was
honored.
so excited for tonight. So thank
Well,
you
you're very
for having
beautiful. I
me.
mean, we can tell you. I mean, you have podcast experience, so you're not
Fantastic
used
reading.
to the microphone and all that. You can tell, and it was terrific reading.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It really was, Mindy. And
Aw.
we always want to have all of our readers, our features, our authors to come back on. We would absolutely love to have you back to
Oh,
share
I would
another
love
segment,
that.
another chapter.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, count me in any day.
Yes. That would be so awesome. Mindy, Henderson, thank you once again so much. Applause.
Thank you.
And all of our readers tonight, and Mindy, you included, you have to pop on when you get a chance to Facebook, YouTube, and just see all of the love in the comments here.
Oh, I will definitely do that. That's so great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mindy. Have a great night.
You too.
Oh my gosh, was Mindy not incredible, Chris?
Great. She was worried about going after Patricia, but I mean, it's such a different book.
I mean, both of them knocked us out in different ways. We're ready. We are excited. We want to be knocked out by everybody, Chris. We're ready for everything.
We're ready.
Awesome.
I think everybody's going to be, kicking booty tonight.
Well, yeah, we still have two more incredible authors to hear from, and they're going to knock us out as well, I'm sure. We need to welcome Gregory Norris. Welcome, Gregory.
Hello. Thank you for having us. And just to mirror and echo what you said, Mindy, that was just so powerful. It was so fantastic.
Just totally awesome. Well, Gregory, we are so excited to have you on tonight, and I will share your bio from my second monitor over here. All right. I still feel shy about turning to my other monitor. Anyways, raised on a healthy diet of creature double features and classic science fiction TV. I just love that first clause here. Gregory L. Norris writes regularly for numerous short story anthologies, national magazines, novels, and the occasional episode for TV or film. That is so awesome. Gregory novelized the NBC made-for-TV classic by Jerry Anderson, The Day After Tomorrow, Into Infinity, as well as a sequel and a forthcoming third entry into the franchise for Anderson Entertainment in the UK. Awesome. A movie he watched as an 11-year-old sitting cross-legged on the living room floor of the enchanted cottage where he grew up. Oh my God, so awesome. Gregory won HM in the 2016 Roswell Awards in short science fiction writing. He once worked as a screenwriter on 2 episodes of Paramount's Star Trek Voyager. Kate Mulgrew, Voyager's Captain Janeway, blurbed his book of short stories and novellas, The Fierce and Unforgiving Muse, stating, "In my 7 years on Voyager, I don't think I've met a writer more capable of writing such a book and writing it so beautifully." So cool. In late 2019, Gregory sold an option on his modern noir feature film screenplay Amandine to the new Hollywood production company Snark Hunter LLC, owned by actor Dan Lynch, a devotee of Gregory's writing. In late 2020, Snark Hunter optioned Gregory's tetralogy. I hope we pronounced that right. Horror film based upon 4 of his short stories, Ride Along. That same month, his short story, Water Whispers, originally appearing in the anthology 20,000 Leagues Remembered, was nominated for the Pushcart Prize. Norris was nominated for his second Pushcart in 2021 with The Woman in the Wallpaper, his short story in the anthology The Lost Librarian's Grave. His 2021 novel release, X Marks the Spot from Woodhall Press, was favorably reviewed by Publishers Weekly. In 2022, Woodhall releases his follow-up collection, The Solar System, 12 Tales of Wonder and Adventure from Sol to Pluto. The following month, Van Velzer Press publishes A Dream Within a Dream, 6 novellas written by Norris that pay homage to the poetry and short story work of his favorite author, Edgar Allan Poe. Gregory lives and writes at Xanadu, a century-old house perched on a hill in New Hampshire's North Country. This is like one of the most awesome bios I've ever read, Gregory, for sure.
Thank you. It's all true, I swear.
Yeah, I believe it. This is awesome. With his rescue cat and emerald-eyed muse. So follow his literary adventures. Y'all better follow Gregory. Gregory is living the life here at GregoryLNorris.blogspot.com. We are excited to hear your reading, Gregory. Take it away.
Well, thank you. So I'm going to read from the solar system, which features 1 story each, starting at the sun and then Mercury and Venus and Earth and ending in Pluto. And I'm going to read you the Pluto story, which is called Nights on Pluto. Pluto. Pluto sucks. Pluto sucks the big one. The big one. Now there's the irony. When you factor in Pluto's demotion from 9th planet from the sun to the designation of dwarf planet, smaller than Earth's moon, Doesn't matter that it's bigger than Ceres because a dwarf planet is still a dwarf. A frozen moat in the Kuiper Belt named after the god of the underworld. Small break. They play marathons of old movies and TV shows from Earth and the colonies every night at the Cineplex. Night being the most ironic thing of all about Pluto. It's always night here. Still, those in charge like to maintain the illusion of a 24-hour cycle split evenly between imaginary bright hours and dark. My name is Thaddeus Gorham. There are a lot of Thaddeus Gorhams roaming around the Metroplex located 2 kilometers northwest of the left lobe of the giant heart-shaped depression that forms the Tomba Regio. Some are responsible for maintaining the facility. Some filter the slushy ocean of liquid water beneath the Regio's surface. Some of the Tad Gorhams grow food under the solar lamps, and some of us pass the long distances between visits from those coming to or going from Sol by trying to not go insane. Break. That night they were playing something by Hitchcock. In another of Pluto's ironies, I'd seen the movie enough times to be able to voice the dialogue while its black and white characters spoke it, but not enough to remember the movie's name. It was one of those tense moments between attractive hero and femme fatale with long glances and an economy of words. A man with my face moseyed over. I was the only one in the Cineplex, but he chose the seat directly beside mine. I tisked. Little on Pluto is ever random. This seat taken? He asked in my voice. I didn't answer, thought about moving, but realized I didn't have the drive. Ignoring him would demand more effort than I had. Besides, he'd only follow me. Nice night, he said. I snorted a humorless laugh. If you like the weather and ambiance, sure. Tonight's forecast was pretty much the same. Dark and somewhere in the region of a zillion degrees minus zero. Oh, and that tiny pinprick of light hanging over the horizon, that's Sol, amigo. Are you watching the movie? He asked. Trying to. I'll take it that means no. I tipped my head toward him. In the flickers of black, white, and gray cast from the screen, I saw that he wore the usual ball-cap jeans and smart sneakers, along with a crisp white lab coat over his button-down shirt. That one detail distinguished his identity from the other Tads. We Thaddeus Gorhams can tell one another apart, like parents with twins, but put enough of us together under the same roof, and even we have difficulty keeping track. You're a doctor or a butcher, I said. Maybe both. And you're a comedian. Listen up, funny guy. What I have to tell you is important. What? I huffed. That the next time Pluto crosses Neptune's orbit and moves technically closer to the sun is only 3.5 decades away? Or that we've got another mission due to stop in from planet Gamma or Earth in half that time? Or, let me guess, they found more water somewhere out there, I grunted. That stopped being news on Titan or Mars. Hell, it got stale back at Earth's moon. You've been chosen, he said. This made me laugh even louder. All those religious wingnuts that talked about the sanctity of stem cells and 1-minute old fetuses, where were they when the Metroplex was being manned by an endless succession of genetic duplicates? That old chestnut about clones maybe having souls curiously never got trotted out when they made for an economically friendly labor force, i.e., cheap. Hallelujah, let's all talk in tongues, I said, wagging mine at his face. He reached over and grabbed my tongue. Then he slapped me. Pay attention. Okay, so after that I listened. Little break. This one's different, he said on our slow amble down the corridor, through the network of water pipes that formed a kind of cathedral around the main living area, waiting for one big Pluto quake to crack open and baptize 1,000 Tad Gorhams, and likely drown them too. 2 heads, I asked? No, that hasn't happened since. He'd taken my comment as serious and caught himself. You'll see, there was a mistake in the development. They almost terminated it. I thought. You thought you'd see what came out. Anything to break up the monotony. Something like that, he admitted. Wait, why are we? He stopped. I tipped to look up. I hated his face. It's already here, I asked. He didn't answer, which was answer enough. You brought it to my place without asking? I'm not required to ask, and you're not permitted to refuse. That's what we do, all we do. We keep Pluto station manned and operational for outgoing or incoming star missions. My insides froze with a mix of terror and revulsion. Why me? Because, Tad, your restlessness hasn't gone unnoticed. Restlessness, I parroted. Look around you. A circus performer with dancing cats would get restless after 4 minutes on Pluto, let alone my 28 years. Precisely. So this is what? Punishment? He chuckled beneath his breath, and I wanted to suck the beard off his ugly face. Or you can think of it as a reward. Your choice. More irony, because I didn't really have one. He turned to walk away. Wait, I demanded. He halted but didn't face me. Yes? How am I supposed to explain things to him? Explain. The birds and bees are a ways away. Not the damn birds and bees, you moron. The jagged mountain peaks, the frozen methane, the etymology behind Pluto's naming, and what Percival Lowell did to all of us way back in the Earth year 1930. When he's old enough, he'll have the same questions we've all asked. He'll figure it out, he said, resuming his march away and leaving me alone outside the door to my little piece of prime Pluto real estate with its builder beige walls and piles of unwashed laundry. Only I wasn't alone, my inner voice reminded. In trembling, I reached for the door. It was unlocked, which could have been my doing or theirs. The room was how I'd left it. Bed unmade, a note of funk from the aforementioned laundry, working through the ever-present antiseptic air piped in through vents, holographic terminal loaded up with all those books still waiting to be read, along with my journal entries. My journal. Fresh rage ignited in my gut, thawing the ice, cracking everywhere else over and through my flesh. They'd read my private thoughts. How else would they understand, truly get my restlessness? My righteous indignation surged for another instant before crashing, toppled over by the soft mule coming from the direction of the bed. I willed my eyes to look. Nothing. Or so I thought. Then I detected a flicker of movement between the bunched covers and wall. I sprang over and pulled the trapped mass from where it had gotten pinned. The baby, so pale, howled. My heart galloped, my sight focused. What the hell? I asked. The creature dressed in a powder blue onesie kicked. Its wails powered down to coughs, and then it said, "About time you got here. I'm starving, pal." Little break. Hands shaking worse, I poured soy milk over soy flakes and placed the meager meal in front of the baby with the tiny man's face. He scowled. Seriously, that's all you got? I didn't answer, and the kid who looked like me and all the other Tad Gorhams, lifted the spoon, crunched, and slurped. This can't be real, I said. Which part, me or the lousy accommodations? He ate more. Tad. Tad? Okay, we'll play it properly. Mr. Gorham, you gotta clean the sty once in a while. It smells like a footlocker in here. How would you know what a footlocker smells like? I read books like all the other Tad Gorhams. He returned to his cereal. After another long half-minute, he met my gaze. You're wondering something, and I can guess what it is. Yeah, I said. From what I've gleaned. Gleaned? You know, what I've pieced together from bits of overheard conversation. I was an experiment. In what? And I know what gleaned means. The baby with my face held up the spoon and shrugged. Evolution, I think. You're not the only Thaddeus Gorham who's glanced around at the same walls and wondered, is this all there is? Nope. Suddenly sick, I hurried into the bathroom, where a delivery of clean diapers, wipes, and salves were stacked atop the short length of sink counter. That did it. The first retch of bile shuddered up my throat. Oh, Tad, the thing in the other room called. Doubled over the toilet, I vomited up everything that was and wasn't in my stomach. Tiny, unsteady feet padded across the floor. Through watery vision, I saw the infant version of me standing there and retched again. You okay, pal? He asked. No, I managed, the lone word foul and painful to utter. The baby patted my back, leaving me to wonder who was the child and who the man. Little break. We crunched over the regolith. The light from the Metroplex and airfield glowed at our backs, casting the faint purple tint of Pluto's desolation across the ground. In the tiny spacesuit, Tad looked like an imp, a gesture, but I knew the truth. He was the smartest mind for 100 astronomical units in any direction. You see that? I asked, pointing toward the flicker in the sky far beyond the world of our sentencing and the erratic elliptical orbit that held us locked around it. Somewhere far out there is the land of your origin. No, he sassed. This is the planet of my origin. You know what I mean. I know that Pluto orbits the sun once every 247.94 years, which means we haven't even made it around a single time since they laid the foundation of the Metroplex. Welcome to a long string of night, kids, one no different from the next. We sat on the ridge and stared up at Pluto's moon, Charon, named after the ferryman in ancient Greek and Roman mythology. The sky over our heads, I mused, far darker than the river Styx. So what do you do? He asked. You know, to pass the time. Read books, watch movie, raise kids apparently. I nudged him. He shoved back, sighing audibly over the radio that connected us along with our safety tethers. What? I asked. But what happens after you read all the books and watch all the movies? You read and watch them again. He exhaled in frustration. After that, he went quiet. I sensed there was more he wanted to say but didn't, likely because he knew the channel was being monitored by other Tad Gorhams. So we sat in silence, taking in the view. It's sort of beautiful, don't you think? He eventually asked. I snorted a humorless laugh. We'll have this conversation again in a few years. By then, I'm sure you'll be just as sick of it as I am. Little break. I took him to movies. We read books. As the rest of his body caught up to the age on his face, Tad Gorham showed a proficiency in math and took a position in engineering for which he was promoted and leapfrogged over Tad Gorham's 4 and more times his age. 10 years after he first entered my life, I noticed a change in him. His expression became darker, his outlook less sunny. Either the reality of Pluto had long last overwhelmed him, or he'd suffered something almost as miserable, puberty. Do you want to talk about it? I asked. No, he snapped. Then do you think maybe it's time you moved out and into your own place? All the emotion and color drained off his features. Why would I do that? Clearly you're not happy. You've got this whole teen angst thing going on a few years early. If you're so hacked off at me, I think it's time we parted company. He stared at me in shock as if I'd slapped him hard across the face. Then he blinked and his expression softened from its palsy. No, it's just that. What? I've been thinking about Pluto, about us. You shouldn't do too much of that. No good'll come of it. There's a colony ship due to arrive here in just over 7 years. The Belle Astra, Tad said. She's got a 4-day layover before leaving for the Bailey Borders archipelago of planets. So I plan to be on her when she departs the airfield. Unexpected sadness bloomed in my gut. You? That's not the way it works, kid. They'll never allow it. I figured out a way for it to work for the two of us to go, to leave Pluto and see what else is out there. Kid, I sighed. I have it all worked out under the loophole for the transport of manufactured life forms regarding the threat of immediate harm. In this case, it's terminal boredom, but I can make the case and succeed for you and me. And then he said the words that sealed the deal. Trust me, Dad. Thank you.
Wow, Gregory! I'm like totally. I was taken from
Wow.
to space, and I'm out there, and I'm wondering how we're getting off Pluto now. That was awesome, Gregory. I'm like very stressed. I'm very excited. I'm very intrigued. How exciting! How awesome!
Oh, well, good. I made you feel something. If you're stressed, good.
Yes, we need to get them off Pluto.
Yeah, right. It's a good kind of stress. Wow.
Yes, it's the intrigued stress. You want to make people feel things when you read, when you share your writing, and when people are captivated and connected to your work. It's so cool, Gregory. Oh, is he frozen? Gregory, are you frozen? No.
He froze. He's on Pluto.
I'm back from frozen Pluto.
I love it.
It's like you're broadcasting from Pluto sometimes because
of spectrum.
Yeah.
Where is it? New Hampshire. You are. Maybe that's
northern New Hampshire. Yeah.
There you go. Well, not quite.
Gregory, you have just the most incredible, fascinating science fiction credits in your bio. And I am just dying to know, how did you get into writing? How did you get into screenwriting? How did it all happen for you?
Well, when I was 15, I took this first step into a much bigger universe. I was writing my first novel really out of boredom. And I found that I was so smitten with the process. And in the filing cabinet behind me, that novel is archived along with everything I've ever written. And I just, that summer, I I decided that I wanted to only be a writer, only a writer. And, I've been really fortunate. I sweated it out for my dream, gave it whole heart, and it has rewarded me. We call Xanadu the house that writing built.
I
Um, and,
love it.
how I got into
Oh, hold on for a moment. Hold on, Gregory.
Earth to Pluto.
How I got into screenwriting was I was writing nonfiction articles for the Sci-Fi Channel magazine,
So cool.
and was interviewing, the creator of Star Trek Voyager, Jerry Taylor.
Awesome.
And, she liked me so much that I approached her and I said, I would love to pitch to you. And I had learned to screenwrite on my own by reading screenplays and reading books and, writing. I've written spec scripts, none of them were very good at that point, but that you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And she's like, I would be thrilled to have you join the pitching pool. And that's how that started. Living in northern New Hampshire, there's not, a lot of screenwriting opportunity, but, I do it every year. I write a screenplay every year.
Awesome.
And I use my connections, and that's how I got the 2 film options.
Gregory, that is just so awesome, and it's so cool to hear. All of us writers, we have a passion for this, and we are going for it and doing our best. But it's so cool to hear your story about how from 15 you wrote your first novel, and then you put like all your blood, sweat, and tears into it, and just did your absolute best to make it happen. And like you said, your house was built on this, and it's so cool. You have everything archived, and you're just writing all of the time. That is just awesome. Really exciting.
It is. Writing is the heartbeat within my heart. I love it.
I love it. Gregory, that is just so cool.
That is.
Well, thank you both so much. This has been really delightful, in spite of the freezing up at the end. Thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me to talk about the solar system. I'm so happy that that's coming out in October, and Woodhall, no surprise, they've just been fantastic.
That is so awesome.
It's such a great concept too, the solar system, one story per planet, even poor Pluto.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just a very cool idea. So I think people are going to be excited about that.
So
Thank
cool.
you.
That is so cool. Well, and people need to pick this up. Is it in pre-sales quite yet?
I don't believe so. It's coming out. I believe the release date is October 3rd.
Nice.
Yeah, but just to let you know, Chris, it was so funny. One night in September of 2020, I rolled over out of bed, reached for the notebook that I keep strategically at the side of the bed, and I wrote down the solar system, and that was where it started.
And that was it.
That was the beginning point.
This is what's happening. When the spirit moves, the pen is ready.
Well, that's where some of the best ideas come, right? It's like middle of the night or whatever, and you got to have that pad ready.
Absolutely. Like I said, I have a very fierce and demanding muse.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Gregory, that is so cool. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And just like with our other readers, we have to have you back. We need to hear about more planets here.
I would be honored. And you guys, you're wonderful. Thank you so much. This has been really delightful.
Thank you. The pleasure is all ours, and we can't wait to have you back someday soon, Gregory. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
You too, Gregory. Well, that was just awesome. And we have one more incredible author published by Woodhall to share, to introduce tonight, Chris. Isn't it? I mean, it's already been incredible. And we have one more author to introduce.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Welcome, Allison Williams.
I love that green behind you.
I love that green wall too.
Thank you. It's an accent wall.
Fabulous. How are you doing this evening, Allison?
It's 5 a.m. and I am doing great here in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. So I've been up since 2:30 so that I had time to like put some hair on, and so delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
No one would ever know it was 5 a.m. where you are. You look like
so super ready to go. Allison, that is super duper awesome. And I already have many questions. That is so cool. Thank you so much for staying up late and missing some sleep and getting up early for us.
All good.
We're excited to hear you read. Chris, would you do the honors?
No, I would be honored. Allison K. Williams is the author of 7 Drafts, Self-Edit Like a Pro from Blank Page to Book. She has edited and coached writers to deals with Big 5 literary and independent presses and has guided essayists to publication in The New Yorker, McSweeney's, The Guardian, and more.
So
As
cool.
social media editor for Brevity, she inspires thousands of writers with blogs on craft and the writing life. A former circus performer. Now that's right there. That's the eyebrow goes up. That's fantastic. Allison has written for NPR, the CBC, the New York Times, Creative Nonfiction, McSweeney's, Kenyon Review Online, and Traveler's Tales. Her plays, including Hamlet, not Hamlet, Hamlet, L-E-T-T-E, Beth, The Next Horseman, and the London Fringe Best of Fringe winner True Story, have been produced worldwide.
So cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, former circus performer, Allison K. Williams.
Take it away, Allison.
Hi there. Thank you. It's really delightful to be here. So happy to have you. And I'm going to actually read from 2 separate books. I'm going to read you a short selection from my book about writing, 7 Drafts, Self-Edit Like a Pro from Blank Page to Book. And then I have also just recently finished what I hopefully is the final draft of a new novel. And I will read you the beginning of that as well. I always feel vaguely fraudulent writing a book about writing and not having a novel published. And so my message to all of you, whether you are a writer or not, is that you really never outrun imposter syndrome. It is always kind of there in your back pocket, no matter what. So just, live with it, let it move on. So whether you are a writer or not, you may have noticed that in some books, there are really special, sparkly, beautiful characters who are perhaps not the most plausible. And sometimes, especially in early drafts of memoirs, there are villains who are extremely vigorous in their villainy and lack self-awareness. So what I'd like to do is read you a short section that is about heroes and about villains. This is titled Kill Mary Sue. Why doesn't Mary Sue belong in your book? Because she's amazing. Mary Sue is beautiful, but not normal beautiful. She's exotically beautiful with an unusual eye or hair color, or she's a tomboy who thinks of herself as plain, but no way, she's gorgeous. Her eyes shimmer, gleam, or radiate powers. She moves like a ninja, or she's adorably klutzy. Mary Sue is talented. She's a computer genius, picks up magic spells immediately, recognizes liars, fights like an MMA champion, bonds with animals, and always knows the secret entrance. Mary Sue is loved. Everyone in the good guys group adores her and makes her the center of attention. Anyone who dislikes Mary Sue is obviously a villain, or only around so Mary Sue looks good by comparison. No matter how shy or socially awkward Mary Sue is, everyone is drawn to her and immediately trusts her with their deepest secrets. Mary Sue's only flaws are stubbornness and or a bad temper. If she's always right, though, so if she's yelling at someone, they deserve it. If Mary Sue demands her own way, it's because she's right. Mary Sue has a tragic backstory. After her parents were killed, she was raised by wolves or magicians or a cruel guardian who took away her rightful inheritance. A Mary Sue may be named Anastasia or Lumina or Raven or anything else so sparkly special she cannot get a personalized keychain to save her life. But she doesn't want that keychain because she's not like other girls. All of Mary Sue's struggles are in her tragic backstory. She starts the actual story as a badass, visits some literal or metaphorical battlefields, and finishes as the same badass plus love interest plus trophy. Meh. Many early drafts contain a Mary Sue, a character so special and perfect and amazing she's boring as hell to read about. Often, Mary Sue, or Gary Stew, is the character the author wishes they were themselves. We all want special powers, skills to overcome all obstacles, and great hair. But stories are about struggle, conflict, and change. In the character draft, you must remove most of Mary Sue's amazingness, talents, and strengths. You must give her genuine problems now in this plot line, problems she actually has to learn and grow and acquire skills to overcome. If you're writing memoir, you must show the protagonists your flaws and faults. Two perfect protagonists or an unexamined memoir self are boring and disingenuous. Readers invest more in an ordinary person with normal flaws and normal skills, normal for the world you're writing, working hard at the limits of their abilities to physically or mentally survive the plot. As a writer, your craft will get better if you give your characters real problems and not quite enough tools to solve them. Which brings us to villains. Just as heroes aren't Mary Sue, villains aren't the big bad wolf. Even when your story centers on good versus evil, the bad guy doesn't wake up in the morning, twirl his mustache, and cry, "I've got some oppressing to do today." What do your antagonists want that, if the book were told from their point of view, would make them the good guys? What does your villain believe in? I've spent my life building a successful intergalactic organization with immense power and resources. It hurts me deeply that my son spurns his inheritance. Darth Vader has feelings too. Or imagine the Wizard of Oz from the other side. My sister was killed in a tragic architectural accident. Seeking an heirloom that's rightfully mine, I must defend myself before I'm murdered by the thief. Maybe the mad scientist thinks the country needs smart people to run it, and having cyborg soldiers just proves that point. Maybe the billionaire thinks rich people should run things because they can't be bribed. Maybe the dictator wants a class of people who labor, collect their check, and go home, and everyone's employed because no one makes waves. Or maybe they're suffering too. My yoga teacher used to say to herself when someone was horrible to her, "That person must be in a lot of pain to be behaving like that." In another life, I was an actor. I miss that work schedule. In some ways, the immediacy of be at rehearsal in 7 p.m., we open in 2 weeks is a lot easier and more comfortable than write 1,000 words today, or just 300 good ones, or maybe do some research. Which project am I working on again? That comfort, plus loving Shakespeare, plus being a huge ham, is probably why I auditioned for a local production of Macbeth here in Dubai, thinking to myself, I'd love to play Lady Macbeth, but I'll probably be a witch again. It'll be something fun to do a couple of nights a week. Instead, I won the title role in an all-female cast and spent the next 6 weeks living on takeout and not writing very much. I learned to play a man. I live in Dubai, where casting Mac and Lady Mac as a power lesbian couple is not an option. I put on facial hair and stuffed my groin. The biggest help was the shoes, big, solid Oxford brogues, half a pound each with a blocky inch of heel. I took longer steps. I shook hands hard and softened my grip with ladies. I touched people without their permission and interrupted everyone. I man-spread like a champion. The show was an immersive production set in modern Dubai, and the audience followed actors through the venue to boardrooms and bedrooms and banquet halls. Between the official Shakespeare scenes, we improvised in modern language. The audience chased us upstairs and around corners. One night, I held the door to the elevator, barking at the guests following me, "Hustle, I'm not holding this door for my health." Suddenly, my dad was speaking through me, my gruff, angry dad. That's why he barked. He had someplace he needed us to be. He was afraid we wouldn't get there if he left us behind. And this is how that felt. Lady Mac spends most of Act 1, Scene 7 telling Mac, if you were a real man, you'd kill the king. If you were a real man, I'd love you. In the next scene, I hovered over King Duncan with my knife, terrified of murder, but desperate to please her, to make her look at me with the same joy I imagined she used to. That's the way I treated my ex-husband, as if nothing was enough, as if I got to define what it meant to be a man and measure him. And this is what that felt like. There's power in stepping into someone else's shoes. You must ask, as you write your memoir, as you write your novel, as you live your life, in what view of the world is my villain the hero of their own story? What genuinely leads them to believe they're right? A villain who has some good points to make can increase the internal conflict for your protagonist and increase external conflict by making it harder for the hero's team to stay together through the whole quest. Understanding your villain can help you make sense of your own life. Traitors believe they're switching to the right side. This next bit I'd like to read you is from a young adult novel. It's called All These Little Stars. I've been writing it for about 10 years now. And my hope is that it will be ready to finally send off to my agent sometime in the next few months or so. I'm doing that very last pass where I look at every single sentence and make it the very best it possibly can be. It is time consuming. I have a really lovely writing group that I enjoy bringing 20 pages a month to. And I'd like to share with you just the beginning of that book. This is chapter 1, Famous Last Words. 10:46 a.m., 5 minutes to the end of first lunch, 6 minutes to the end of everything. From the cashier station, I scan the room. The caf is emptying out. Most of the first lunch kids have tossed most of their lunches into the trash. You could feed a small African nation on the daily waste from Reagan High cafeteria trays, and headed outside for sunshine and social media before turning their phones off for fourth period. Usually, I sit on the patio between the cafeteria and a portable classroom. The picnic tables are technically still inbounds for lunch, but out of plain sight. I appreciate the live oaks dripping with Spanish moss and occasional squirrels, plus the freedom from missiles of small, hard food. Today, I'll be sitting inside. Someone brushes past me hard, rolling cherry tomatoes off my plate. How come you're in this lunch, eyedropper? Today, it doesn't hurt much. I hitch up my shoulder strap, messenger bag heavier than usual on my hip, and look for the spot I've already picked. School cafeteria seating is the ultimate hierarchy. Hierarchy, a ranking of people or things by relative status or levels of importance. 2 more SAT points for you. Think of it as my legacy. At the top, the fundraisers table, seating BFFs Hannah, Jessica, and Ashley, running this year's Christmas tree sale from a prime location in the front of the caf. A few respectful yards away, the row of athletes, cheerleaders, and honor students who aren't nerds. Behind them, closer to the food lines, clubs who are also friends, but not drama who eat in the theater. Then a wide swath of tables with unimportant kids we sell things to, and closest to the garbage cans, losers, people who read while eating, and AV club. Everything at Reagan has a rank. Wall of Fame in the gym, honor roll on the auditorium wall, student government leaders on plaques in the front office display case, winter dance court in glitter glue posters on the cafeteria wall, fastest, smartest, most political, most popular. Even friendship has a hierarchy written in my head. Kindergarten BFFs, summer camp buddies, sorry I'm embarrassing, friends outside school only. Jessica, are you ghosting me? Only one of us is getting out of here alive. Up at the fundraisers table, the BFFs are examining each other's hair, Ashley picking up long strands of Hannah's blonde waves and Jessica's shiny straight black, holding them up to the light like a hair tutorial where some influencer is going to tell us her secrets so we can all be beautiful just the way we are, plus $25 a bottle. Hannah sees me, twitches away from Ashley, and rolls her big brown eyes. Jessica flips her hair and says something that makes Ashley smile and nudge her head up to Jessica's ear to ear. They each drape the other one's hair over their faces, pose and selfie. Ashley taps into her phone, another social media ad for true friendship and great hair. At the other end of the fundraisers table, the sports rats, Logan and Cody, start shoving each other. The BFFs giggle and chat and scuffle. Clearly, it does not take 5 people to sell Christmas trees. Hannah says something and jerks her head at me. Ashley giggles harder. Logan says, "Oh, yeah." Jessica looks at me like, "Why are you even here, Aurora?" Good question. A low sound from behind me. Eyedropper. I want to run or scream or curl into a tight ball under the table. I sit down anyway, next to the wall, at people who read while eating, and slide my bag into my lap. The strap's been biting into my shoulder all morning. I reach under the flap and feel for the gun I know in the dark. Heavy, slightly greasy, safety on. Whispers ripple through the tables, and I look where everyone else is looking. Trevor comes out of the cash line, searching for a place he's allowed to sit now. My chest aches inside, like my heart is opening, reaching for him. Sit here. He sees me, then sees right through me, and changes direction like he's hit an invisible force field. He passes table after table, his own force field rippling through the cafeteria. "Sorry, we're saving this seat. Here comes my friend now. Quick, stack your books on that empty chair," because that's what happens when you get inside the Aurora force field. It eats you too. Trevor looks back across the cafeteria. Everyone is sincerely sorry there's no room and very busy having an important personal conversation and absolutely not shunning the guy with dark circles under his eyes, wearing a long sleeve hoodie in a heat wave in December. We all know why. There's only one way to fix what I did. Make sure somebody pays. That's what adults don't get. Bullying only works when you hate yourself even more than everyone else does. Every nasty thing someone says, every time your locker's broken into or graffitied, every time you're accidentally shoved on the stairs, you know in your heart you deserve it. Trevor takes his food outside, and my heart closes again. Check your surroundings, Aurora. Nobody left behind me in the food lines. Lunch ladies are pulling out second lunches, burgers and fries from the walk-in freezer out back where they hide until we leave. I'm sure the cold is a small price to pay for the quiet. Only a wall on my right. To my left, AV Club is engaged in a vigorous debate. Resolved, Star Wars has jumped the shark and should move on. So far, the misogynist affirmative is carrying. They won't be leaving anytime soon. Up front, the BFFs are counting out the Christmas tree sale cash box, Logan and Cody shouting random numbers to make Jessica mess up and start over. I watch my phone until the number changes. 10:48 a.m. I take a deep breath and stand up. One foot on the seat of my chair, the other foot, exactly like at the shooting range, the sound turns down, even though I'm not wearing ear protection. They don't get quiet exactly, but the talking starts to be about me. I reach into my bag and the .45 is in my hand, arms strong but not tight. I look around the cafeteria, for the first time, the highest person in the room. Cody says, "Oh, shit." I hear the ding of video recording. AV Club, of course. Always keep the safety on. I check it with my thumb, slide it off with a click. Everyone stops talking for real. I don't know what to say. There should be some famous last words. I'm telling them to you. Thank you.
Oh my God, Allison! Whoa! I mean,
That's what I'm working on next.
What
Hey.
totally intense, vivid, real, relatable
Thank you.
characters, imagery, everything going on there, and how much it relates to the incredible portion you read from your from your book, The 7 Drafts.
Thank you.
Wow. You got to go see the comments in the chat. People were spellbound to your piece just now, but also just, it was so insightful what you had to say about heroes and villains, and like resonated on every level. Like,
Thank you.
just so awesome. Chris, wasn't it?
That was fantastic, and I love how you use, a story from your own experience, being in the play
Yes.
to illustrate that.
Yes.
So it's almost like part memoir in a way. We get to learn about you as well, which is a lot of fun.
Thank you. It really is. And I find that in writing about writing better, it's helped me a lot that my history is in performance, whether that's, circus or classical acting, and I've done a lot of both. And just this wonderful idea that by truly inhabiting even the characters who you're writing for us to not like,
Right.
you can make us compelled to spend time with them, because a character who people want to spend time with does not necessarily equal good or nice. Exhibit A, Alan Rickman's entire career.
Exactly.
And it's really kind of, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Alan Rickman.
Example, I mean, I always say that to people, the best, the movies, books we read that have, villains, the best ones, you kind of like the villain in a way, I mean, you might hate what they do, but they're charming or something. They have some real
It definitely contributes to why I just love Adam Driver so much. So many of the characters he's playing are these kinds of folks. Well, I also like the way, but that's aside from the point.
That's why you like Adam Driver.
Absolutely. And it's been something that I've been thinking about a lot, because I first started writing this young adult book about 11 years ago.
Wow.
It really is kind of the book of my heart, and it's taken a long time to make it come together, because I mean, the way that I first pitched it to agents, the first time I pitched it to agents many years ago was, it's a black comedy about a school shooting, and the shooter is the hero of the book. And it's really hard to make that work. And yet the first time I had high school students read it as beta readers and give me feedback, because that's the audience who I'm aiming it for. Right. They came to me and they said, we know that hurting people is wrong, but we wanted her to do what she did, and it's been really interesting as the world outside us kind of evolves and current events become horrifyingly bad. Right. And yet at the same time, I think it's more relevant than ever to look into young people who are struggling with depression, young people who are struggling with bullying, and, to just let everybody know these are not the best years of your life. They're usually the worst.
No, and violence and aggression. And I think an important step in actually dealing with the problems of violence are actually looking, humanizing the enemy, looking at these people, as people. What are their motives? What are their story? What are we not seeing? What are we not hearing? And how can that potentially bring a world to greater understanding of others, greater compassion for others, greater respect for mental health care, and I think a more compassionate world creates a less violent world. And I think understanding people who are very different from us, or who have reactions that are different than ours, is critically important. And I think that was so beautifully expressed in what you said about villains and how we see them, how we treat them, how we understand them. Incredibly powerful stuff, Allison.
Thanks. And I really feel that, as writers, as artists, as creators, it's kind of our moral duty to put ourselves in the shoes of people who cannot perhaps explain their own motivations, put ourselves in the shoes of people who are not able to tell their own stories, and figure out, how can I tell this story, and how can we all, become broader and more compassionate people for it.
Absolutely. Super.
Yeah, I didn't know. I'm sorry. It's beautifully put, and I think it's really hard to do that, first of all.
Yep.
So which doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. It means we should, but I think it's harder to sell that too, because people are so
right
averse to going there, right? To everything is so black and white. It's like
right.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Yeah.
Mary.
Well, and I know it's the book of my heart because I know it's going to be hard to sell and I have to write it anyway.
You have to write it anyway.
You do. Yes, you do.
Who wants it, and then God willing, people actually read it, and you can change people's minds about these kinds of things. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
the white hat and the person with the black hat, and it's simple as that. That's not
Absolutely. Extremely powerful stuff. Allison, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. The sun is rising here in Dubai, and this has been a beautiful way to spend the morning. Thank you, everyone who came out to listen, and thank you so much for having me here. It's been a pleasure.
Allison, it's an absolute pleasure. And, just like we're saying to everyone else here, we would absolutely love to have you back to share more with us on another day.
Be delighted.
So great. And another round of applause once again for our other readers this evening, Patricia Crisafulli, Mindy Henderson, and Gregory Norris. Yay! And of course, Allison Williams. Thank you so much, audience, for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. It's been a fabulous evening. And Chris, coming up next week, we've
got Susan M. Davis and Rebecca Hazelton. It's going to be fantastic. Please join us.
It's going to be amazing. Everyone, thank you so much again, Allison, and everyone. Have a great, great, great night or morning, depending on where you're at. Amazing. Go get that book, everybody. And go follow everyone on social media. All right, everyone. See you next week.